What's up, everybody? Welcome. Mike Dolce here, bringing you Ask the Dietitian with Professor Lindsay Howard MS, RD, LRD, CSCS, and DDC. Lindsay is our lead dietitian here at the Dolce Diet and Fitness. And every Monday, we have a fun conversation, answering your questions, talking about topical items, and just chit-chat and shop talking. Sometimes we work out problems. So it's great having Lindsay here, and she'll be signing on any minute. I wanted to welcome you to the YouTube channel. Now, this YouTube channel is growing. 45,000 some odd subscribers here. Great. We are launching a new channel here at the end of the month. You'll hear about it in the next few days or so. We would love for you to come check us out and see all that we have to offer. Lots of new content, new format, new style. Some of the OGs of this channel know what we're talking about and are excited about what we're bringing. Today on this episode of Ask the Dietitian, we're going to be breaking down what happened in the Kamaru Usman-Jorge Masvidal fight. We're going to be talking about intermittent fasting and a few concepts that may or not be beneficial for fat loss. And we're also going to talk about specific weight gaining products, which were made famous but were made famous primarily by none other than Mr. Joe Weider. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. Now, everyone can, like Ryan Kramer just did, you can leave comments, ask questions, engage, interact with us in the chat section, and we will be answering questions. We have questions that have come through our Facebook page, questions that came through email and such. We're going to start putting this out more on Instagram also. Hello, Amanda. Jonathan is good morning. Just cooking a farm-raised antibiotic-free chicken, trying spatcock method, cut out the backbone. Interesting. I'm not familiar with that. I'd certainly love to hear more. That sounds awesome. And we're just waiting for Lindsay to jump on here. She will be coming in from I believe the sports science lab at Marymount University, where she is at the moment. Lynn, what's up, Lynn? I just found you. Well, we are here. Thank you and welcome. Whatever you want, whatever you need, we are here to help you guys. The goal of this channel is to bring the most honest, actionable, and evidence-based information to add value to your life and help you grow and move forward. So everything we bring here is to help you. Number one goal is to help you, to provide you with the information, with the details, with the reasoning, with the context, with the opinion on any topic that you have. And we try and do our best to bring you the honest, real answer, whether or not it suits our bias or our company or anything else. We're here to provide value. That is our company. That is our bias. That is who we are. That is the brand here. As long as we provide educational-based content that allows you to make better decisions and live better lives, we win, right? So that's why we're here. We appreciate you guys being here. And we are just waiting for Professor Howard to log on. I'm checking the links right now. And let me see here. Text her and say that we are live. Who knows? As I go through, Mike Helms, what's up, Mike? Do you suggest creatine for fat loss? If so, there's a certain amount of time I should take. Well, this is actually a great question while we're waiting for Lindsay, because I just... Professor Howard, not a problem. Let me share this link, ladies and gentlemen. Hold on one second, please. As we clip. Now you can see, bam, there we go. Things have grown again to the OGs, and what we're doing on this channel, the Dolce Diet channel, as I get to Mike's questions here in a minute, this channel is going to stay. This channel is going to grow. This channel is going to really increase in value with the type of content we bring. But on our second channel, which again I mentioned earlier, which will be out at the end of this month, totally different format, lots of new information, and it's driven by you. So we're super excited to bring that to you and make sure you keep your ears open to come and check us out. Now, Mike Helms has asked, Do you suggest creatine for fat loss? If so, is there a certain amount of time I should take it, or just take my 5 grams indefinitely? So do I suggest creatine for fat loss? No, not for fat loss. Does creatine contribute to fat loss? Very probably it does. Does creatine have another list of amazing benefits that will be supportive of a fat loss based protocol? Yes, absolutely. Do I think creatine has long-term cognitive effects that might make it a go-to supplement for the entire human population? Yeah, that's possible. There's really, really powerful data out there with regards to the cognitive benefit of creatine supplementation. And that's really where I'm most focused. If that gives me some more muscles, all right, cool. If I can bench press another rep or two, hey, that's great. That's great. But creatine really does seem to be a very powerful compound that we're still learning more about as we... Bam! Professor Howard!
Hello. What's up?
Not too much. How are you?
I had to run outside for all your messages to come through.
Oh no, the sports science. Now, sports science lab, is that where you are right now?
We call it the human physiology lab, but same thing.
Human physiology. Okay, so you're in the human physiology lab as we speak.
Yeah.
With poor internet connection.
Yes. It's like your texts are coming through to my watch and they're not showing up on my phone. So I'm like, what's going on here? Wow.
Gotcha. Well, it's great to see you. Welcome back on. We are live, and I was just not ranting, but I was asking or answering a question on creatine. Try and move over here. We'll change this up a little bit. What's up, Lindsay? Good morning.
How's it going?
It's going good. It's going good. When you said at first, you said you had to run outside, I was like, Lindsay doing sprints before the podcast, just getting her mojo on.
Amped up.
Amped up, making gains. Maybe you want to jump in at this question from Mike Helms. Do you suggest creatine for fat loss? If so, is there a certain amount of time I should take it, or just take his 5 grams indefinitely? So maybe you talk about loading, because I just went over the context of long-term benefits, cognitive benefits, as well as sport-specific benefits. What about a loading schedule? Anything on intake?
Yeah, I mean, creatine itself is, it's not a magic pill. Like, you have to put the work in for it to be effective. I personally have never taken creatine. I've considered trying it, but you have to put the work in the gym. I mean, 5 is usually the appropriate amount for most people. And there should be, periods where you come off of it and go back on. There's a lot of research that states, if you're not, I don't want to say overdosing, but overusing creatine, then your body's natural production of creatine could be reduced. I don't know how factual that is, but I mean, the last time I looked into it, that was kind of the main concept there. But you kind of want to match it with your peaking seasons. So, if you're really trying to put mass on and maintain your muscle mass, maybe increase muscle mass, drop body fat a little bit, then your creatine intake should match that, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect. For me, I take usually between 3 and 5 grams per day. And what I've done, I've actually started using Jarrow, which we have no relationship with. We're not endorsed by. I make no money for saying this. I just use them. I use Jarrow, and Jarrow sells creatine capsules. And I believe they're maybe 1,600 milligrams per capsule.
Okay.
And it just makes it easy to not have to to do the scoop is sometimes a pain. It's a little messy. You got to do it a Ziploc baggie. The capsules are great. So I'll take 2 capsules 3 times a day with the meal approximately. So it comes out to be just under 5 grams on average. Maybe I do 2 on one day. So I'm probably averaging like 3.8 grams per day, spread out over a 5 or a 10-day period.
Right. And do you feel like I'm in charge now asking the questions?
I love it. Go.
Do you feel different, like significantly different when you stop taking it, or if you kind of go into like a deloading phase, or is it kind of like a placebo effect?
It's measurable.
Okay.
There's a measurable effect in performance. I manage all of my data. There's a measurable improvement in lifting, in endurance, in muscle density, in energy, in extra weight. Everything feels a little fuller, like you feel a little more carved up is a good way to explain it.
Right.
Performance-based carved up, not spilling over, of course. So discernible. And I'll see my weight increase, 3 to 7 pounds, let's say, depending on how dialed in I am with food and training and rest and such.
Right. Interesting.
Let's jump in through the questions. And also, I wanted to talk. Did you watch the fights this weekend? Did you watch Usman and Masvidal?
That entire card was like one of the weirdest, most exciting, strangest fight cards I've ever watched.
Tell me.
It was crazy. First, you have a guy's leg go dead. Then you've got a leg snap in half. Then you've got a ridiculous leg kick from Rose. And then you've got that insane knockout. It was just crazy. I was a little disappointed though in the main event. I wanted it to go a little longer just for fun, for entertainment. But that was nuts.
The UFC does it right. They put it on. All the criticism they get, they put together amazing cards. Now it's the athletes who shine. Usman, Masvidal, give the dude credit. You had Shevchenko, who's just absolutely incredible. Rose, right? Thug Rose. Like, oh my God, how do you not go on that journey with her? How does your heart not step into the octagon with her? It's like you win when Rose wins, right? You go through that journey with her, which it transcends. She certainly transcends. Weidman, my buddy. Oh God, Chris Weidman. Chris Weidman is a cyborg. Yeah. He's not of flesh and bone, Chris Weidman. And I say that because if you go back through his career, if you see the injuries, the challenges, the body issues, I mean, the massive weight cut for Damian Maia, he cut like 40 or 50 pounds to fight Damian Maia. I was with Chael Sonnen on that card, who fought Michael Bisping in the main event. Weidman's on that card fighting Damian Maia, damn near dying on the ground, cutting an inordinate amount of weight, like 40 or 50 pounds, short notice fight, right? Got pulled in. That's a decade or more ago. Some of you might want to leave in the comments when did Chael fight Bisping and Weidman versus Maia on that card. Today, neck surgeries where they like cut through the front of his neck and cut his neck open, man. And Weidman's still out there doing it, shattering shins. Who knows what he's going to do next from here? So huge respect to Chris. He doesn't get the respect he deserves, in my opinion, as an athlete and as a man and as a warrior and all that great stuff. I think because he's just a nice guy, he doesn't have to be that bravado shit talker.
Right. Yeah. He doesn't draw too much attention to himself aside from, just his talent.
Yeah. And he's in the gym working or he's at home with his family.
Mm-hmm.
That's Weidman. Great dude.
Yeah. That was when it happened, they were like, I was like, I don't think they're gonna show it. I don't think they are. And I'm like, it's pay-per-view. They have to show it. Like, this is not.
They have to show it.
Yeah. So then I think it was John Anik was like, he's like, okay, we're gonna show it. We're just gonna show it. Crazy.
Messing with that.
I'm officially part of the Gallon Gang, by the way.
Bro. Bro it up.
That's what happens when they turn the water fountains off. Got to come prepared.
But you should, I can see I got gallons of Nestle purified water. I have the liters of Smart Water. I have the Essentia water. I'm drinking a iced black coffee, which is dehydrating, but still it's like water everywhere, right? As a human, how can you not know that you should always be within reach of a water source, immediate water source?
Yep. It's natural. My students are making fun of me because I carry the gallon into class. I'm like, hey, gotta stay hydrated. Yeah,
and it's good for the guns too, carrying the gallons.
Yeah.
Right?
My graduate assistant, he's like, oh, I got a case of invisible lat syndrome today. I was like, shut up.
No, these are real, bro.
Yeah.
You talking. Sam Corey, Dolce Diet certified coach. Sam Corey over there in the UK. Hello, both. Client, 1 stone, 1 pound down. So 1 stone is 14 pounds, 15 pounds down on day 15 of 3 weeks to shredded. Bang! What do we say? Lose 1 pound per day, every day for 21 days on 3 weeks to shredded. I'm not just saying that because it's a pretty easy like sales statement, but look, here's a fact, right? This is what we see, so common. And if you hang out on this channel long enough, you see real people talking about their interaction with the program, you'll see it. We're just aggregating data. And when I repeat that, individual results may vary. Of course, it's because it's driven from statements like this. Click the link below if you're interested in what the heck I'm talking about. But I would love to get Lindsay's thoughts on hospitals' Fortisips, UK drink. My dietitian subscribed me them, but we argue over the ingredients. All right, so Lindsay, I don't know if you're familiar with this. It sounds like it is a nutrition replacement drink that is given in the hospital, maybe like an Ensure here in the United States. And a little bit of background, those who don't know Sam, I do, and he's been open about this. He had severe digestive issues. I believe he had, Sam will have to correct me here, part of it colon removed, part of his digestive system actually removed. So compromised, and is just living, super fit, healthy guy, I think you got to say, everyone, but is so goddamn diligent. Like, we all have to take a second and realize how blessed we are to not have to deal with what Sam deals with, but is more fit than nearly everybody else anyway, like as a result of that. So there's no excuse here, by the way. Do you have any idea on what this Fortisips is?
I don't know specifically, but I would imagine that it's very similar to like an Ensure or something like that, which are pretty much just high calorie, like meal replacement drinks for people who can't handle a lot of solid food. So it sounds like it would make sense, if you think somebody has part of their, digestive tract removed, you would assume that they can't consume enough solid food to get them enough calories. But the issue with these drinks are they're full of they're super sugary, like high glycemic index, probably have a number of artificial ingredients in them, highly processed type things. And there's a way to do it without, pumping people full of Ensure and these other products. Again, I would assume, I don't know if Sam wants to comment a little further on what that drink is, but there's a number of ways to kind of get around that. And my simple suggestion would be, as a dietitian, if I had somebody who was facing these types of issues, my simple suggestion would be to drastically reduce your meal size. So the amount of food you're putting in your body at one time, at one sitting. And you might have to eat, 6-8 meals a day. And I don't mean full-blown meals, just very small meals, evenly spaced throughout the day to keep your digestive tract moving and also make sure that you're getting enough calories in. So good for you for pushing back on that one.
Agreed. And I just signed myself out. So when I disappeared, I signed myself out, poof, and I was like, oh no, I lost the stream. I lost the broadcast.
You're back.
And here I am. And there you are. Excellent. Excellent. So I'm happy to see that the software worked and I didn't blow up the world. I thought I just maybe launched an EMP on everyone's Bitcoin. And I was like, what did I do? Like a caveman over here dancing around fire. But great explanation. I was actually able to hear your explanation coming back in. So that actually is a good point. And this is why I jumped off. I fell off because I was trying to pull up a meme on Joe Weider to talk about what we're talking about right now, because nutrition and weight gain supplements. Joe Weider is a part of the avatar. Now, I got to upgrade the avatar for you, Lindsay. We have to get this. Yes, that'll be, I'll screenshot that. Actually, I'll go back and screenshot that. That'll be great. But Joe Weider is one of the faces. Joe Weider, Kamara Usman, and Dr. Jason Fung with regards to intermittent fasting. You and I want to get into this stuff briefly. Joe Weider came out with the Weider principles. He came out with the weight gain powders, right? Joe Weider is the mastermind behind this. And when I was a kid, when I was coming up in my 13s, 15s, 17s, 19s, 24s even, I was buying the dog food bag sized weight gainer 4,000 from Joe Weider, of course, which was just calories. Bam, bam, calories. And then metrics came through. So I was managing a national nutrition store chain back during those times. Dr. Scott Conley comes out with metrics, and Bill Phillips with EA Sports, and Joe Weider is pushing the Weider principles, and the Beckman brothers from Twin Lab were, out there just, crushing the game. The Muscle Tech comes through. So I was part of the supplement wars, let's say, because this is when the supplement world really kicked on. This is back in the 90s, late 90s, coming out of the 80s, right? Everyone in the 80s was like fitness was everything. And, Jane Fonda and all that stuff, kind of, that was like the 80s. Everyone was very, athletically sexual, I think maybe is a good terminology for it, which grew into monetization of international brands, national brands. Here's a massive segment of the population now who is buying and searching for these products. Bam, let's catch this marketing wave. And that's what Weider and Weider much earlier, in the 60s and 70s and such. But with that being said, weight gain powders was everything. And they've changed dramatically over time. But to my point is high quality food sources versus what would be a low quality food source. Even the weight gainer powders are low quality as compared to high quality food sources. So in weight gaining, what's your opinion? And is there a ratio, anything to avoid with that weight gainer category? Now, not just a whey protein isolate, not just a single ingredient, but the weight gainer category. And are there any brands or products that you've seen that work, or is it bunk? So,
yeah. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure, again, I've never used a weight gainer product. There's probably one, maybe two kids that I've recommended this to. And these were teenagers who were like, teenagers that just have like this massive growth spurt, and then all of a sudden they're like twigs, and they literally can't eat enough food to keep weight on. So I think that's my major opinion here is that a weight gainer or a mass supplement it's a supplement. So it should supplement what you're eating already. And it should be reserved for people who literally can't get enough calories in through food. People who are trying to get bigger and are going through their day eating, and they're just full all day. So maybe I would recommend it in that case. But I think the way that they're marketed is, if you want to get bigger, just take this powder. But the problem with that is the product itself. I'm pretty sure most of those products are just mostly maltodextrin, which is just a sugar, essentially. It's like a vegetable starch, I believe. Tastes like nothing, so they could just flavor it up. But super high glycemic index. So if we're taking, I think a serving of those things are like, 500 to 800 calories. I would just guess some of the products. I know they range, but wouldn't you rather consume a couple thousand calories from food and high quality sources than just powdered scoops of maltodextrin? Right?
Yeah.
Like have a bowl of rice with like steak or something. Go to Chipotle. I've been on a massive Chipotle kick. I need to stop. But no,
is that because it's convenient and close enough? What is
I think so. And it's like, you can't argue that their ingredients are fresh. So that's like my, if I want something, don't feel like cooking or whatever, that's what I go for. A little bit of rice, some vegetables, chicken, steak, it's fine. Very similar to what I would prepare anyway for like a dinner or something like that. So, but no. So
how often do you eat Chipotle as compared to your home prepared similar meals?
Like, I don't know. It comes in waves. Usually in the basketball season, that's what we'll opt for, just because we're so busy.
Sure.
Hours and hours, at work, and then we're going to practice, then we have game or whatever. So it's an easy thing to grab, but it's not like a regular thing. Now I want it. Oh, damn it.
Now, did we just subliminally talk you into Chipotle now?
Yes.
The whole audience goes to Chipotle today.
Yeah, take your bets. Will I get it or not? But no, I mean, I think those products should be reserved for a small section of the population that, you know, we talk about gaining mass all the time on here and, you know, progressively increasing your calories, not too much at one time. And if you take your normal diet plus a serving of that, whatever product it is, that's like, again, it's like 500 to 800 calories, I think, per serving.
Yep.
That's drastic. And that is literally like a super spike in your blood sugar. Again,
when you're 15 and 18 and 22, you're taking triple the serving. So you're taking 1,500 calories of that crap, just dumping it in. And man, on top of everything, drinking that. I used to drink that with meals. So I'd be eating my normal meal and then I'd be drinking that crap on the side too. Yeah.
So you have to think like, just from like a science standpoint, you can only store like, I think it's like average 1,700 calories, like 1,000 to 2,000 calories of glycogen in your body at a time. That's like you're topped off. So if you're eating your normal meal, say it's like 800 calories, and then you add in 1,000 calories or 1,500 calories just from this drink that you could chug down, that is so much at one time for you to have to digest and then figure out where to put it. So you get the question all the time, like, you know, if you eat too many carbs, will it turn to fat? I mean, yeah, if you're eating 2,000 calories at one time, it's got to go somewhere. So, I mean, I think there's a smart way to do it. And again, I think it should be reserved for a select portion of the population. But it's just like anything else. It's marketed as like this easy way to do it, very convenient, fairly inexpensive. So I think kind of people aim for the easy way out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, we'll jump into this one. Fabio says, do you count the calories during working with your fighters? Do you count calories while working with your fighters? Great question, Fabio. And in general, no, we don't count the calories. We end up at the calories. And this is what a lot of people don't understand. They don't see it this way. So let's take a moment to explain this here. We don't count calories to create a meal plan. We create a micronutrient dense meal plan that falls into a certain calorie range as a byproduct of our focus on optimizing nutrient intake. All nutrients, not just protein, carbs, and fats, not just calories as an umbrella category. We focus on the micronutrients, which ends up at a total caloric ceiling, as we say, but we focus on high net nutrient foods, high quality foods, as we just discussed with regards to the weight gaining power versus whole powder versus whole food. So we suggest the highest net nutrient foods, which are earth-grown foods, real foods, whole foods, organically raised foods, non-processed foods, minimally prepared foods that are local, in season, fresh and ripe, right? These are what we suggest because they have the highest net nutrient value of any other synthetic food-like product on the planet. As good as they might be, they're not quite as good as I had just said. Those are the foods we suggest to facilitate a optimal nutrient, micronutrient density or intake or ratio or really balance. We're balancing the nutrients, balancing the micronutrients, making sure the interplay between all enzymes and systems and processes are all working like a symphony. That's what it is. There is a symphony, to make it a little more robust of a metaphor here. We're creating a cellular symphony. Everybody has to be playing at the right tune in the right cue perfectly. If we just wanted noise, which is calories, well, we can just throw a bunch of noise in there too. But we want that perfect symphony. That's my, answer to this. Maybe a little more esoteric than just calories, and macro ratios. Lindsay, you have anything to add on that?
I love that analogy. That's good.
Thank you.
Just noise. Calories are noise. I like that. Right. No, I agree. And I think when people start with calories, whether it's weight loss or weight cutting for a specific, trying to hit a specific number, I think people aim for the calculation. If I reduce this number of calories over this amount of time, this is by definition, by math, supposedly how much weight I'm going to lose. But we know that that's not always the case. It's not, this 3,500 calories equals a pound. That's not for everybody. You could take, there's tons of research. You can take 100 people, reduce their calories by 3,500 calories a week. Some are going to lose weight. Some are going to lose more weight. Some are going to lose less weight. So I think people try to do that kind of calculation, and then they end up eating way too little. And then their body actually holds on to weight. And they kind of hit this, not even a plateau, but like a stoppage point where their body's like, I'm not giving up any more weight. You're not going to give me enough. I'm going to hold on to what I have. So I think that's the downfall of starting with calories, is that people try to drop too much too soon. And then you have to start over.
One of our dietitians, Meg 40, had said to one of our classes one time, which was a great example. She said, the human body is biology, not mathematics.
Right.
Simple mathematical equations do not work in the human body, right? And that's exactly what you're saying. It was just a great way to put that point out there. Yep. If it were just as simple as cut 3,500 calories, I'll lose 1 pound per week and I'm off to the beach. God damn, every one of us would look like Professor Howard or like Uncle Mike over here. We live it, we do it. We have the goal, we create the physique that we want at that time, that suits us, suits our goals at that time. If it were so simple as to just write it down on a piece of paper and follow a macro program, look at the world. The world is more obese than they've ever been. Right? It's not like all these crappy little macro equation products and calorie counters and whatnot. That's the oldest gimmick, in time. Now I'm running out of computer power. So Lindsay, do you want to answer Daniel's question? Should I be concerned about leptin deficiency or resistance? I'm just going to plug in.
I don't think everybody should be concerned about leptin resistance. It's definitely a big thing. It's a big problem. We have two hunger hormones, essentially leptin and ghrelin. And a lot of people do have leptin resistance. But I think I would need a little bit more context to figure out why you think you should be concerned. But no, if you're following a healthy, generally healthy diet, eating in regular increments, making sure you have a source of all the macronutrients at every meal, not eating super, super carb dense meals just by themselves at one time, I think you should be fine. Again, I would need way more context to see, if a specific person should be concerned about leptin resistance. But it is a real thing. A lot of people do experience this, and it affects their hunger cues. People feel hungry way more often, and they're actually not hungry. But it's all hormone based. So it's a real thing, but again, I don't know if Daniel Santiago, I don't know if you specifically should be concerned.
And to that, I think, and I might be speaking for Daniel, but we'll just kind of speak in general because it brings us to a different point, that there are so many bullet point concepts thrown out in 3 to 7 minute sound bites on long form podcasts or short clips. Mm-hmm. These things are often conflated when first spoken. So they're conflated by the bias of the individual who's speaking it. But then they're also out of context for the listener, the receiver of that conflated information. So it becomes the telephone game. So the word leptin gets thrown out there. And now people think, oh my God, now I got to worry about my leptin. I got a leptin deficiency and leptin. Right? Everything else that's out there. Gluten, that was gluten, celiac disease and gluten. Very similar, right? It gets thrown out there and it changes the mindset. I'm just thinking of so many, or ketosis. Are you in ketosis? You're not in ketosis. Or insulin sensitivity. Insulin resistance. That was the big one over the last 6, 12, 18 months, right? If you stand back, you pay attention, I call it keyword flipping. Mm-hmm. You can follow the keywords. If everyone's talking about the same thing, they're all effing lying. unless a groundbreaking study comes through that says something. I can't remember one by, my career, by the way. But anyway. So the leptin thing is often overly conflated based upon little pieces of information, with the rare exception that someone is a metabolic outlier and they have this super niche issue, right? That's brought on because you ate an extra 4 grams of blueberries in a day, and God forbid you weren't releasing heat shock proteins, another very famous one, right? There's so many, and these little words, these little terms, and then entire industries or mini micro industries are built out of that. And then subcultures grab onto it and it creates this narrative. So I've seen questions like this before pop up in my IG live stream and stuff. So there must be something. Somebody said something somewhere on a relatively known show or media.
Yeah, you're totally right with the keywords. Like, people cling on to it. It's like, oh, this was on Good Morning America. It's the next big thing.
Yep.
It's going to be like the leptin diet next. But no, I mean, again, in general, usually the people that have leptin resistance are overweight or obese, just due to the fact, like, leptin itself, the hormone's produced by fat cells. So if you have more fat cells, you're going to produce more leptin. And it's the same thing with insulin resistance. If you're releasing so much insulin, you're going to become resistant against it because there's just too much. Too much, it's like overload for your cells. So, I mean, again, if we're maintaining our body weight, then for the most part, most humans should be fine.
Now, let's talk a little bit of cause and effect here. So the more fat cells you have, the more leptin you release. But the more fat cells you create through lifestyle, the bigger the fat cells you currently have grow. And then you actually create new fat cells once you've outgrown the capacity of your current fat cells.
Right.
So you can theoretically infinitely create more fat cells, thereby producing more leptin, thereby making weight loss harder, possibly, thereby gaining more weight. This cycle continues. But this cycle, in my mind, is only broken or mostly broken and most benefited by lifestyle mediation. Let me do everything in my normal life to maximize my fat lossing ability and to minimize negative byproducts of an unhealthy lifestyle, high body mass and poor food intake and lack of exercise and interrupted sleep and high levels of stress. We can wipe those away. And then we can start to see if there is a leptin issue or an insulin resistance issue or whatever else. And usually all that gets wiped away. So they focus on the conflated keyword. They don't focus on going to bed on time and drinking mostly water and doing those little things.
Right. Yeah. And it's like, there's so many things that could just be related to being overweight. And as soon as you reduce your body mass, all of those things go away.
Yeah. So
it's literally just due to the fact that you have too much fat mass on your body, which we know is horrible for humans.
Yeah.
And we're not, but we said it before, like, humans aren't, biology is not math. Yep. Humans are machines, but they don't always work as machines. Like, there could be issues in the machine. And when we add in a bunch of excess fat cells, the machine, so to speak, is not running how it's supposed to run.
Yep.
So if we take that away and get back to, a healthy body weight and a healthy body composition, I think is also important to note, then a lot of these things will just leave as the fat leaves.
I like it. Brian S. My bud is doing the keto diet and is complaining about lack of energy. Any suggestions? For me, and you can answer it how you want, my suggestion in dealing with people who are following untested programs is to support them. Support them in making a positive lifestyle change, support them in creating some sort of action, and don't ridicule them. Great analogy. I'm in a organic smoothie juice shop that owns a hydroponic greenhouse on hundreds of acres of a sod farm. So these are farmers who are producing these amazing produce beyond organics in Freehold or Lakewood, in that area. If anyone's in the New Jersey area, by the way. So I walk in and there's a guy there, a fitness professional who runs a fitness product company. I won't say the product, runs a fitness product company and is very fit, looks very fit. Like, this is a slightly older gentleman, but looks amazing for his age. Clearly he's living a healthy lifestyle. And there's another individual in there who is a little overweight. I would say probably 60 pounds overweight from their healthy ideal, right? From their healthy ideal, but probably 40 to 60 pounds overweight, their healthy ideal. They get into a simple question. She asks, oh, do you have any weight loss products over there? And he jumped down her throat. Jumped down. That's stupid. There's no such thing as weight loss products. We just have healthy, whole food, nutritives, goes into this whole like pristine ingredient and the plasticides used in vegan products and this whole weird, crazy rant. And this lady, just like her face, like she like broke. Mentally just grabbed her stuff and like, yeah, okay, and just kind of left and got out of there. So this is an analogy here to answer your question, Brian, about what do you do when people, they're trying to make changes? You applaud them, you encourage them, you support them, you walk the journey with them, you be honest with them, you slowly share more information that they consider during their walk, their healthy walk, but don't break it. Because now if they jump onto a keto diet after being on a McDonald's diet, and now they're eating like, they got grass-fed beef, they got wild-caught salmon, they're eating green salads now. That's awesome. You might want to think about blueberries, because here's some good research on the antioxidant polyphenol benefits of blueberries and also how it can help you in the gym. You might think about it. Tastes great on recipes too, by the way. Like, that would be the energy. That's the energy I have most of the time. I play this avatar sometimes here on social media, or I'm yelling at people, never, not keto t-shirts. Of course, we do sell those, by the way. But it's walking the journey with the person. So that would be my response. Lindsay might want to answer this in a completely different manner.
Yeah, my first thought when reading the question would be to suggest that they discontinue the keto diet.
You said in one sentence what I took 7 minutes to not say poorly.
Just unsubscribe, discontinue. But no, that's the thing. It's like, I think people, when they begin a keto diet, they're like in this limbo where they eliminate carbs from their diet, which carbs equate to energy. That's fact. Our brain runs on glucose. So glucose comes from carbohydrate sources. So if we're eliminating that, then yeah, people are going to feel a lack of energy. When people start the keto diet, it's a reason why they call it the keto flu, because we've eliminated carbohydrates. Our body, again, if we go back to this machine analogy, we have a certain process that we go through to metabolize foods and use it for energy. And all of a sudden, if we eliminate an entire macronutrient group, for the most part, we have to switch our gears. It's like a backup generator that doesn't want to work now has to start working. So it takes our body essentially more energy, more effort to metabolize fat as our fuel source, which would be actually getting into ketosis. So yeah, we're going to have a lack of energy. I have plenty of friends, my family, people that have been on the keto diet that are like, all of a sudden I'm tired all the time. I'm sluggish. I have muscle cramps. Sleep is affected, all of these things. But it seems like those things are ignored because they're like, oh, I lost 3 pounds this week, So I think it's the total package. It's a full picture. Why wouldn't you want to follow a lifestyle, a way of eating? I don't even want to say diet, but a lifestyle and way of eating where you have plenty of energy. You could also be losing weight, and you just feel good overall. So, I mean, again, my suggestion would be to, I don't know, take a step back and kind of ask, why are you following the keto diet? What's your purpose aside from, I guess, weight loss?
Yeah. You brought up a great point. We often say, and we encourage our audience to always ask, as compared to what? Anytime new information is presented or they're re-examining the same information, which we should all do, we should always test our own biases. But always say, as compared to what? So the keto diet is great. As compared to the traditional American McDonald's diet, yeah. Oh my God, absolutely. Absolutely. As compared to a whole food, organic, omnivoric diet, I don't know about that. Let me explain to me more. Wow, you drop carbohydrates because they produce insulin, because that kills you because of inflammation, and our ancestors did that. And like, you ever see a tiger in the wild, man? Because they don't live on that. That's what you mostly hear. You mostly hear that shit. So no, well, let's just talk about the evidence. What does the evidence show? The evidence doesn't support that. The long-term evidence of human history doesn't support that. A Mediterranean diet might be at the top of the food chain within all cultures, amongst all genre and generation and time. The closer to those principles, which ironically is not far from the Dolce diet's own very simple principles. Eat healthful, whole food in wide varieties, fresh, local, organic, unmolested by man's greedy little hands, ripe and in season. That's rule number one of the Dolce diet. Number two is eat every 2 to 4 hours in general, based upon activity, repair, replenish of the work that you just did, and kind of pre-fuel for the work moving forward. Think about your life in a 72-hour bubble, 36 hours before, makes you who you are right now. And then the 36 hours moving forward allows that continued evolution. So we think every 4 hours, and how does that fit into a 12 or 36 and then 72-hour bubble around the individual human in the middle, right? So healthful whole foods, fresh, organic. Number two is eat every 2 to 4 hours based upon activity. And number three is eat until satisfied, not until full. I don't have to overeat doubles and triples because I can eat again in 2 hours, right? I can eat again. And if I'm getting hungry, a little hungry every 2 hours, and I'm eating the right healthful, high quality whole foods every 2-3 hours or so, my metabolism is spinning. I get ripped. I get yoked, packed out, shredded. I hold my muscle. I can work really hard. And every athlete, every human who's actually ever followed that, same thing. Our greatest athletes, Lindsay, the greatest athletes on the planet, to regular folks in their 50s and 60s and 70s even, living their best life because they're eating wild-caught salmon and quinoa and blueberries and avocado and mac nut oil, whatever it else might be. They have this amazing diet, 4 meals or so per day, wide variety of nutrients. Blows keto away.
Yep.
Man, blows keto away. Blows everything. Carnivore blows it away. Vegan blows it away. Blows it away. Why are we pretending that it doesn't? Prove one case that what I just said doesn't blow everything else away. And your blood work is damn near perfect, right? As perfect as it can be. Everything about you, your skin, your mood, your appetite, your bowel movements, perfect, right? There's no healthful whole food flu, right? There's no, I don't have to go through the flu. My body doesn't have to have that type of aggressive response trying to deal with this shit. And then the continuation, what it does to your bowel movement, holy horror stories, right? Mm-hmm. I'm not even hating on it right now. I'm just telling you the facts, right? That's just the facts.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like we always talk about keto, but like there's a reason why people who are following a ketogenic diet have to supplement with like magnesium and other micronutrients because they've eliminated them from their diet. So it just doesn't make sense to me. I don't know, but it's a marketable thing. It's easy for people to be like, ooh, I could eat cheeseburgers and, bacon and things like that, but no bun. So it's just this big misconception. And I think the main reason for it is because, everybody's going to lose weight. Everybody that starts a keto diet is going to lose weight, probably like a decent amount. Yeah. But it's not sustainable. Who's living their life like that? Every single person I know personally who has gone on the keto diet and seen successful or significant weight reduction has gained more weight back than they started at. So, there's a few. I know like a few people that follow a pretty good, healthy keto diet. So like they're still having, you know, some greens, some spinach, some things like that, that are not like the cheeseburger, bacon, keto people and the pork rinds, as you say.
I would ask, and I come across such people too, and they're like, hey, you're doing great.
Yeah.
And I say, now, are you actually on a ketogenic diet or are you just eating low carb?
Right.
Because, and here's the point of differentiation. I went crazy like 3 years ago talking about this, and that's a whole nother issue. But now let's talk again about it, just so people understand. Are you following a ketogenic diet, which infers the attainment of metabolic ketosis, or are you following a low carbohydrate diet?
Right.
So you're an omnivore. Most of the people who are, quote, on these keto diets or whatnot, well, they were omnivores, of, you know, slightly different, and they were eating carbohydrates. They were still getting in more carbohydrates. They were still taking in low carbohydrate is like, you know, 20 grams or more a day, 20 to 80 grams a day. That's a low carb diet, right? So, oh, you're taking in 20, 30, oh, but it's only from the whatever, it's only from the carrots or it's only from the this. That doesn't count. Like, no, motherfucker, it counts. You're not in ketosis, fool. It's not a ketogenic diet if you're not in ketosis. And this would drive me crazy. You're eating a low carbohydrate diet. And if that's the case, well, let's get really strategic on the carbohydrates we consume. If we have that 20, 40, 60 gram cap, which is still way too low for the average person, but still, if that's the cap, let's get targeted with it. Like, and that is I think one of the issues from that conversation point, in that people say that they're on a ketogenic diet when they never get into ketosis.
Right.
It's just a low carb diet. Therefore, become very strategic with those carbs that you consume, and that would be much greater benefit. You'll have much greater benefit that way. And they just kind of default to the other setting while never actually achieving ketosis. And that was always the one thing that bothered me, because they would take this into biochemistry. They would take this into a different conversation claiming ketosis. And I know some very famous people who put out very misleading studies saying just this. Ketogenic diet, like, reduces body fat by 40% or a few studies. I'm conflating it just a little bit, because I don't, remember the exact terminology, but I remember it being a low carb diet. Everywhere in the study spoke of low carb diet, the amount of grams that they ate, not that they never attained ketosis, but they never would have attained ketosis in high BMI individuals. But the study was kind of published as a ketogenic diet, when it was just a low carbohydrate diet. And it was actually more of a Mediterranean style diet than anything else. If it was one thing or the other, it was a Mediterranean diet, not a ketogenic diet, because the carbohydrate intake was far too high to even be considered ketogenic.
Yeah. It's interesting, like, just in the whole world of research, I like to play this game where you read a research article claiming one thing, drastically on one side or the other, and then figure out who funded the research. This is back to my conspiracy ways. But like, you look at whatever massive company funded that research. You mean to tell me people don't like FUD research? That 100% happens. 100%. These are the results that we want. So here's what we're going to push that supports our financial agenda, so to speak. So that's just an interesting thing. But I saw, it was a couple of videos ago, on this segment, somebody commented, because we were talking about keto, and we're saying, like, you or I said it, we probably both said it, that most people who go on a keto diet don't achieve ketosis. And somebody commented, I can't remember who, but they said, like, oh, my two friends followed a ketogenic diet, and they, tested their ketones with the strips and things like that, and they were in ketosis as proved by the strips and all this stuff. Yeah, that's great. That's two people out of how many hundreds of thousands of people that are following the keto diet. And are you going to pee on a strip every day for the rest of your life? Yeah. Like, I don't know.
When the keto diet, when it first really took off, 2017, 2018, it took off. And it was really as a result of, there was a catalyst event, and I'll tell you the catalyst event, but the prologue to the ketogenic diet, of course, was the paleo diet. And with the paleo diet, there was the paleo diet, and then there was the macro, if it fits your macros. Remember that? When If It Fits Your Macros was the biggest thing ever, and everyone was posting their Oreo ice cream sundaes because it fits their macros. Remember that
Oh yeah.
You know, fad, diet, cultural, pop culture, mind, you know, control world.
Yeah.
Right.
I think paleo, I remember I was doing an internship towards the end of my undergrad, and it was at a gym that was just transitioning into becoming a CrossFit gym.
Yep.
So it's just when CrossFit started to get big. It was like, I don't know, 2011 or 2012. And it was like CrossFit and paleo people. It was like, if you did CrossFit, you followed a paleo diet.
Yeah.
It was like this cult with, you know, with the exercise side and the diet side. It was like, if you join a CrossFit gym, within a week, you're on a paleo diet.
Yep.
So it's just, it was an interesting, like, cultural kind of shift.
Because it was primal, man.
That's right.
It was primal, like loincloths and what's that?
Cavemen.
We're cavemen. We're primal, man. We're hunting with bows, man. We're rock climbing mountains with no shirts on. You know, like we're running around barefoot, like, you know, fucking Metconning.
Yep. That was the other thing. Those toe shoes.
Yep. All
the same person had those shoes, followed a paleo diet, went to CrossFit.
Yep. And it's funny because I know some of the I know some of the people, some of the executives behind the scenes, some of these companies and these brands, if you will. And CrossFit was zone when it started. CrossFit was 40-40-20 when it started, and then Paleo came out and it became Paleo. But like you said, and this is back when CrossFit HQ was the place to go. There was one website and they put out 6 new workouts, workout of the day, the WOD. The WOD came from CrossFit's main site. It came from HQ. It was put out every day, and it grew this cult following and had message boards. Well, it was zone, baby, because I'm Team CrossFit, like bam. So we're all on the zone, and you know, we wear half shirts and booty shorts, and like we're getting our legs tattooed, and you know, donuts and deadlifts and whiskey and you know, bench press, and you know, we're fucking hardcore like that, man. Bouncing fucking deadlifts off the ground as fast as I can, dropping shit from the air, boom, boom, boom. Rubber plates, rubber floors. You know, garage door bays open, baby, kipping pull-ups, motherfuckers. I'm CrossFit, you know, like that attitude. And I'm friends, you know, we work with Lindsay Valenzuela, number 7 in the CrossFit games, right? Amazing human being, gym owner, right? Well represented in the industry. But, you know, it's always, you know, fun to make fun of the idea and the concepts of all things. It's all this stuff, right? I make fun of myself. I hate seeing myself on the cover of this book. It's such a meme, right? I go to people's houses. I was talking to Rich Franklin on his podcast recently, and like when I go to people's houses, if I see this book or I'm somewhere at a gym or something, like I sneak over and I flip it upside down. I'm so embarrassed of it because Rich was telling a story about how he's got like his UFC posters. So I call it his sexy man poster, like hanging up in the back of his room. You know, he's got like sexy man poster hanging up. And the ability to be self-deprecating, to make fun of yourself. What is that term? It's so not so mean. So I don't know. Meta. It's so meta, right? It's so meta. CrossFit is so meta. Like I'm so meta, you know, this meathead, you know, caricature that we play here, right? CrossFit is a caricature in many ways. I love the cultural impact, you know, and I wrote an article on just how amazing. I was biased from the outside of CrossFit. And then one of our dietitians, Samantha, was a CrossFit level 2 instructor, a competitor. She lived it. She came in and she was as focused as we in the combat side were. Bringing meals and getting workouts in and, you know, leaving lunch and just getting, you know, an extra 20 minutes of movement and whatnot. And I went to one of her competitions, sponsor her for some of her competitions, and was just, wow, this is amazing. The community, there's grandkids are cheering for their grandparents competing. I was blown away with that. And tempered against MMA, my first day in an MMA gym, I was sparring pros. I'm making fun of CrossFit for bouncing stupid deadlifts off the floor. I'm getting punched in the face by the dude who's 4-0. You know, my first day, because I was a bigger guy with a wrestling background, sparring day one. So I could also be, you know, self-deprecating, and I was in the article I wrote for our own website, thedolcediet.com. Over 1,200 articles at thedolcediet.com, by the way. Check it out. Click the link below if you want to learn more. which I think was a great point. So again, I know we're just going sideways here, having fun chatting with you. So CrossFit started zone, and it was very tribal, as many things are. Mm-hmm. We're all tribal, right? You know, and that's what the government really hinges their hopes on, is that we are tribal and we identify and we put on the shirt. Well, CrossFit same way. They only ate zone. They only ate paleo. And then there was that big fallout with Rob Wolf, who was one of the nutrition go-to guy inside the CrossFit movement. But I think, and this is all my opinion now, I think I should get Rob on the show again soon, that Rob was just Rob under his own brand and his own life. And I believe at that time, CrossFit realized they had this big movement here and they were trying to control it. And Rob was an outside CrossFitter, also a research biochemist or whatever Rob's title is, you know, obviously very well regarded in the academic world. So he's very, you know, independent person who was contributing to the conversation, but not being controlled by the platform owner, which again would have been CrossFit, all my opinion once again. And that created this crazy hard change and this hard shift. And you've seen CrossFit kind of like paleo, and then they go to the keto, and they were really big into the supplements for a shorter period of time, 2-3 year span. I believe they were super into all the fit aids and the goos and like all the POP, you know, point of purchase in the gyms. And again, I've, you know, fitness background. I consult a lot of these gym owners and franchise owners. So I understand what's happening in these business models at the same time, but it's as a result of what's happening in the pop culture. Right. Because it was like, oh, everyone's talking about this stupid shit. Well, let's make some of that stupid shit and sell it to them. For, you know, and that's kind of the industry. All industries, by the way. I don't even remember how we got on this topic.
I don't even know. I will say, though, I have multiple clients who regularly go to CrossFit, and I think it's fantastic. I mean, the program, you know, there are really horrible CrossFit gyms, just like any gym, any personal trainer. There are really horrible ones, and there are awesome ones. So I'm not knocking CrossFit as a whole. I think it's amazing. I couldn't even get paid enough money to try to do a kipping pull-up. No, thank you. I would fall off. But
yeah, I don't understand that.
Yeah.
Is it just if it's just an event? Okay.
Right.
You know, it's hard. I'm not saying I can do it. I'm not saying I'm good at them. I'm not. I'm shit at them. But I don't do them. Why? I don't understand. Oh, it's an event. Okay. Like, I don't understand some of the events in the decathlete in the Olympics.
Yeah.
But okay, like if that's the event, cool. You can compete to do that. I don't understand why it's such a programmed exercise, though.
Yeah. I don't know.
Do you might not know? There's a channel called Infinite Edge Intensity. Are you familiar with that?
Mm-mm.
So Infinite Edge Intensity. I don't know if he's still out there. He used to be in my feed all the time. He was like the originator of the CrossFit fail YouTube genre. So he was the guy, because he would just like get all the fails off of all the CrossFit competitors and Dave Castro's like deadlift debacle and like all this stuff. And he'd add commentary over it. He's a lawyer, right? So he's a lawyer, super funny, like witty guy, very charismatic, just great deadpan sense of humor. You know, I enjoyed those parts of his channel, and would just burn CrossFit. Yeah, a lot of other, I mean, of course he branched out, he burns everybody. But his CrossFit ones were epic.
Yeah. I mean, but that's the thing. Like, if you typed in gym fail videos, you see all these people like, I can't remember the one Instagram account I follow. It's hilarious, but it's like people put in like humans on top of like the inverted leg press, like trying to press humans, and like just all these fail videos. That goes for all exercise. It just so happens to be that more of it comes out of a CrossFit workout.
Yeah. I think that, now why is that? Let's theorize. I believe that is because CrossFit they were trying hard to be different. Mm-hmm. So they were taking a lot of, I don't want to say risk, but they were taking a lot of liberties with previously agreed upon exercise principles, rules, basics, foundations, movement, programs. They really made a lot of changes as they were trying to find themselves. So I think that's why you see so many fail videos, is because these noobs off the street that had no previous desire to do anything glycolytic, if you will, to, any resistance training to enter a gym. Now it was more acceptable. So give CrossFit credit for that. CrossFit made it more acceptable to get these noobs on the floor. But then they had them doing these unproven movement patterns under load for time, competing against everyone. The gym puts so much stress on top of them.
Right.
People's just nervous systems just fucking, flailed out.
That's what I'm saying. And I think a lot of places, due to the backlash and due to like the bad rap, I think a lot of places took time, and they really make sure that their clients and their members are learning the foundations of the movements before they just throw them in. A lot of progressions and regressions in the workouts, make sure that everybody's staying safe, because that was like the biggest thing. It's like, oh, CrossFit people are going to get hurt more than regular people, or like, oh, you only injured your shoulder because you're doing CrossFit. So I do think people are moving in a better direction in terms of CrossFit. Just making sure that foundational movement patterns are understood before they're moving on to more advanced, exercises.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting just to see how things come and go, right? The mass adaptation or adoption, mass adoption, and then mass exile.
Yeah.
It's almost like the crypto market. Cry, everything's up and up and up, and then crash, buy, sell. How the human, everyone just moves back and forth, as with the herd. But what are the odds on that, though? What are the odds that an entire community of people all have the same physiologic need at the exact same time?
Yes. Yeah. It's interesting. It's like 2021. It's like, oh, whatever the next diet is going to be, that there's going to be millions of people that flock to it.
Absolutely. And it'll be the best thing ever.
All of a sudden, we had this massive breakthrough in science that nobody ever knew about before.
Keto, bro.
Yeah.
Keto. 1927. Epilepsy, 13-year-old boy. Autophagy, insulin. Right? Cancer, sugar. Right?
Crazy.
That was the argument.
Yeah, I know.
That was the fucking argument. And everyone right now, you're all meta, because you all went with one of those bullshit taglines, right? You all went with one. Most of you, or many of you, went with most.
Yeah.
It's funny.
It's like the natural human intuition, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we're just here trying to provide the most actionable, honest, and evidence-based information to add value to your life. Right? That's all we're trying to do. We can't patent spinach over here, and God knows my attorneys tried. Can't do it, so we just got to tell you that you should probably eat some of that and have some blueberries and some wild-caught salmon, drink some water. Cut all the toxic people out of your life, by the way. Get rid of that crazy bae, crazy bae blowing up your phone, stalking your house, going through your Facebook when you're in the bathroom. You should probably move on from that relationship, right? You'll get more gains.
Yeah.
What?
Toxic people and toxic foods.
Absolutely. Simple principles. What else do we have? We got JH says, what up, Dolce? Do you think you can cut 30 to 40 pounds with 3 weeks of shredded in 1 month? If you are overweight and 30+% body fat, number one, I would not suggest such a thing. Number two, if you're 30+% body fat, who knows? Are you 100 pounds and 30% body fat? Are you 400 pounds and 30% body fat? I would say the total weight lost in that short period of time would be predicated upon a few factors, one of which would be total body inflammation. I would look towards that first. I would look towards digestive efficiency. This is where you will lose the fastest weight in the greatest amount of weight. The fastest will come off of just inflammation, water volume on the body, and impacted food matter. Digestive distress, digestive inflammation is systemic throughout the entire body, increasing total body inflammation by a pretty significant percentage. Remember, a 300-pound person, if it's 1 to 3% inflammation, just an extra water weight around your skin, that would be fairly common. People will gain 10, 20, 40 pounds with certain forms of diabetes or cardiovascular issue. It's very easy for people to blow up, 10 or more % of body weight just in inflammation. So I could see on a 300-pound person, I could see a 10 to 15-pound weight loss in the first week. Mm-hmm. If they have a lot of these metabolic issues going on, then I could say, hey, you're already 15 pounds in and you have 2 weeks to go to lose another 15 pounds. I could see a similar but smaller proportion of total body inflammation to go down, improve digestive efficiency to continue. We start to play with the body's ability to hold and store glycogen, which does hold and bind water. We just become very efficient while burning hopefully 3 pounds of body fat per week. I could see it being a little more, but I would be confident. Now, I will say this. In general, I'm very confident I can get nearly any human being to burn 3 pounds of body fat, real body fat by DEXA scan, if you will, per week. Really, like A-level competitors, bikini, IFBB, bodybuilding stage, UFC weigh-in, the Olympic weigh-ins. Yeah, we can do that for sure, and much greater depending on the amenities the athlete has available to them in their lifestyle and region and all these other things. For sure, we can exceed that. So that being said, yeah, I could see that. I wouldn't suggest that at all. I wouldn't ever suggest someone. I would suggest a very progressive, long-term, healthy lifestyle that will get you down 30 to 40 pounds. It'll get you into a healthy BMI. It will start to bring your total body fat percentage down into a much more athletic utility for you at your age and stage of life, whatever that might be. But you will then start to retain levels of your inherent athleticism to be displayed in whatever manner that you so choose. And then we're getting to the point of, all right, now what do you want to do? Ethel, like, what do you want to do? Hazel, like, what do you want to do? Rhoda, what do you want to do? Stan, what do you want to do? Gene, what do you want to do? You want to run a half marathon? You want to run a 5K? You want to run a half marathon? Like, do you want to do the weekend little CrossFit thing, at your gym? Do you want to join a cardio kickboxing class now? Like, you want to go and swim a mile in your local, town club pool? That's the last 10%, to be a little bit long on this. And hopefully those who listen to this have the context and the understanding. That's where we take you. And then at this point, well, then your macros start to matter a little bit more. Your calories matter a little bit more. But until you're at that gangster ass phase, like about to I don't know, should I run a half marathon or should I do a deadlift meet? Like, I want you to be in that physical athletic position where I can do this fucking 10-mile, 12-mile running event, or I can go and triple bodyweight deadlift on a competition and maybe win my weight class. That's where everyone should be in their life. If you're an accountant, if you're a single mom, if you're a CEO, if you're a medical doctor, you should always be there. And then you can just do that last little bit. And I believe that's the program that Lindsay and I discussed. That's the system, the ideology, that's the focus, that's the goal of my entire company since the day I started it. And it's been an evolution. And I think we're so much better at this now. We really are so much better at doing this at such high levels with such rates of replicatable results, right? So that's kind of, again, I'm going a little bit long-winded here, but it's always nice to provide context, especially for the new listener, the new viewer, people who are new to the system, and they see this super intelligent young lady and this meathead, screaming at the camera, what's going on over on this channel? It's always nice to give a little bit of context of maybe the why we do what we do.
Yeah, no, I mean, to go back to the question a little bit, I think it first has to do with where you're starting. So like you had mentioned, if you're 100 pounds, no, if you lost 30 pounds, you'd be hospitalized. Yeah. If you're 400 pounds, you don't work out at all, and you eat the McDonald's diet, as you said, then yeah, if you have that drastic of a shift where all of a sudden you're eating like the most healthy food in the world, you're exercising fairly regularly, then you're absolutely going to see a pretty drastic drop. It's kind of like what you were saying, Mike, that like it's a little bit more difficult for the people that, I already kind of work out regularly. I try to eat healthy, but I really want to dial down. Yeah. That's where it becomes more difficult. So again, it has to do with where you're starting, what your goals are. But to kind of talk a little bit about your what you're referencing, like you should be at a point in life where if you want to run a half marathon, you could run a half marathon. Like it's actually pretty sad to know that, you know, people, a lot of people, like over half of our population being so overweight and obese, it's such a limiting factor in your life. Like, can you chase your grandkids on the beach? Or can you, you know, do you have a hard time getting up out of your beach chair? Stuff as simple as that. You know, and just with a few lifestyle changes, you could drastically change, not like your health and fitness lifestyle, but just your lifestyle in general. Like, do you get out of breath carrying a load of laundry up the stairs? It's things like that are simple that, you know, that we could consider them like the non-scale victories. Like, yeah, you're losing weight. Yes, you're getting healthier, but now you could chase your grandkids on the beach. So it's, you know, focusing more so on the, I don't even know the word for it, but just the plentifulness of your life, I guess you could say. So, yeah.
And people forget that. They get so caught up in this short-term goal, this short-term promise, oftentimes. That people are very myopic, unfortunately. And what we found, again, the last little piece on this rant before we answer a few more questions here, is we always focused on the long-term health outcome. If we focus on the long-term health outcome, the short-term performance action is very apparent. It's very obvious. But if we only focus on the short-term performance outcome, the long-term prognosis is variable.
Yeah.
Right? We're looking for fixed outcomes here. So we understand long-term outcome, as healthy as possible for as long as possible, dramatically extending longevity, vitality, utility. So our goal when we sit down with a UFC athlete is not for them to win the world title, not for them to even make weight, for them to tell their great grandchildren about the time they made weight flawlessly and won the UFC world title. That's the goal. And if they're down, then we're down. If they're not down, we can't get down, because that's the only way we get down. You on the beach with your great grandchild, running faster than them, throwing them through the waves, swimming like a fish still. Right. That's our goal. That's where we start. That's the muse. And now what do you want? All right, you got 8 weeks to do this other thing. Okay, sure. We can build you that path. It's always on the trajectory towards 92-year-old you on the beach running around with your great grandkids. That's the goal here. That's our team. That's our system. That identifies or describes what we do as a company, why we speak the way that we do, the programs, the products, the services, being levels of engagement. But also why I get so heated and I get so vocal and I get so passionate about the exclusionary, restrictive, fad dietary practices, the faux fitness frauds. And I'm trying to get away from that a little bit. The new channel, I think, is going to help dramatically because we're going to present the content in a different way. But at the same time, I get so angry at those who are risking that long-term picture of you on the beach at 92 years old, playing with your great grandkids. The flawed information, the conflated information, the biased information, sometimes the completely incorrect information is being marketed for their short-term and long-term gain, usually financial gain, or short-term ego gratification. They do it just to be right, not to be, they do it just to be there, just to be talked about, just to be clicked
Noticed.
on. Just to be noticed. They do it just to be loved and worshipped. Oh, the great you. That's such a funny, witty, cool video. That makes great sense, huh? You know, leptin. Oh, that's, you know, whatever that might be. But that's not the real information. That gets me irritated, but that's okay. We're here to help.
Exactly.
We're here to help.
Well, I think it's the take-home message here, I guess, would be for anybody that's on a path. I mean, everybody should always be on a path. You should always be working towards something. You know, whether that's weight loss, whether that's weight gain for a purpose, performing well at an event or something like that, or whether it's as simple as I want to be able to chase my kids or grandkids on the beach. I think it's important for, and not even every day, but regularly paying attention to what your long-term goal is, and then also figuring out what the short-term necessities and the short-term goals are that will get you to that long-term goal. So I think a lot of people only focus on the short-term and forget about the long-term, or they're only focused on the long-term and have no idea how to get there. So I think it's important to have a good blend of goals and things in mind that you want to accomplish to get you to where you want to be.
I love it. Now, Graham Crawford says, Mike, why not get someone on who doesn't agree with you instead of a nutritionist who agrees with everything you say? Ha, ha, ha. Well, I believe you're being a little bit of a troll, so there might be some sort of bias here, unless you're just a troll. But let me break this down. So Professor Lindsay Howard is a college professor, number one. Number two, she is a licensed, registered dietitian, not a nutritionist. She is a licensed, registered dietitian. She also holds her Master of Science degree in what field, Lindsay?
Sports nutrition and exercise science.
Sports nutrition and exercise science. She also holds a CSCS from the NSCA, which is the highest possible accreditation for a certified strength and conditioning specialist working at the Olympic and collegiate levels. So that matters also. Lindsay is also the lead dietitian here for our company, working alongside myself and the team, providing great value in education and care and concern and programming and interfacing with our community, which is everyone on the channel, possibly not you, Graham, because you seem like you're from the outside, instead of appreciating that a professor who has her Master of Science degree is a licensed registered dietitian and an NSCA CSCS. She's also a college basketball coach, by the way. So college coach even is taking the time every Monday. Every Monday, Professor Howard comes on for 1 to 2 hours and answers all your questions completely for free. Completely for free, here to help and have fun and provide value, again, for free to our community. But now, why don't I have people who disagree? If you actually check the channel, we started the Battle Tested series in which we bring on coaches who don't agree with me. Other weight class coaches, guys like Joe DeFranco and Phil DeRue, Dr. Andy Galpin, Charles Stoll, Jordan Sullivan, Tyler Minton, Tony Ricci, Dr. Corey Peacock, Bo Sandoval, just to name a few, Stan Efferding, just to name a few other coaches out there who actually compete directly against us and for the same business in the same industry. Guys who oftentimes Lindsay and I stare across the octagon at, on the other side of the competition field, the battlefield, if you will. So you probably aren't a long-time listener to our audio podcast, The Mike Dolce Show, on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you can get it, or here on our YouTube channel, which we have a second YouTube channel being released at the end of the month. So make sure you hang out and keep your ears open. Or you even don't even go to our daily live Q&As on Instagram. We provide another near hour of free Q&As to our Instagram community of 130 some odd thousand amazing people. So again, Graham, I'm trying to be very helpful here and answer your question as squarely as possible. So now maybe you understand exactly what we do here. But I will say on the new channel that will be announced at the end of the month, we've already recorded interviews with a variety of great guests who oftentimes do not agree with what I say in the beginning, but at the end they realize, wow, Dolce does know. So Lindsay, do you have anything to say to Graham here?
Well, I appreciate your little shout out there,
Professor.
But no, I guess my response would be, you and I believe in the same thing, which is science, and we work with a bunch of people on a daily basis, and we see what works and what doesn't work. And it just so happens that what you're saying and what I'm saying is working for everybody that we're working with. So that's why we agree on things. We're not going to agree on every single thing in life. But I think it's for those of you guys that, listen to this and appreciate the free content, because I don't know another person that puts out so much, free information. And I don't know anybody. I always refer to my clients as like the Energizer Bunny, because you're just, on Instagram answering questions at any hour of the day, just for like an hour at a time. So I don't know. I guess that's my thoughts here, but
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I understand Graham's motivation in putting that out there. And there's a few other comments that he has in there. So clearly he has a bias and an agenda. But Graham, brother, just hang out, have fun, man. You're going to love what we do here. You're going to find all the great value that Lindsay, of course, Lindsay and I certainly try to provide. Chris says, I agree, Lindsay. I appreciate Mike for all he has done for me. I appreciate that, Chris. Right on. Adam says, would not help if you had two people arguing. That's actually a great point, true. Adam. That's a great point, Adam. Why would you want someone that pokes holes in your fine-tuned practices? Well, Lindsay brought up a great point. We believe in science. It's not exactly like we so much agree with each other. I agree. Lindsay, what do you think about gravity?
Right.
Right? Oh, okay. We agree then. She agrees with all my points, or I agree with all her points. My wallet will actually, oh, holy shit, it fell.
Oh my God.
It's crazy. I think it's because of sugar. It was full of sugar, which is why it fell.
Yeah. I mean, if we were talking about like politics or other topics that are debatable, then yeah, we would go back and forth. But we're talking about science and nutrition, which is researched, and we follow the research. So of course we're going to agree. But I think we provide different opinions and different like strategies and tips and things like that. But whoever made that last comment, how confusing would it be if somebody came here for help and answers and we both said something different? Yeah. They would leave being like, well, which one do I do?
Yeah.
So
and that's because then you actually raise a great point. If Lindsay and I wanted, and maybe we'll do that next time. Maybe we'll come up with a few lists or a few topics that you and I disagree on, or we look at different. Because I don't think we're actually going to really disagree unless we get out of the fitness space, right? If it's all about practical application of performance enhancement, we're going to be pretty much spot on. Mm-hmm. But maybe sports teams, there might be a few. I mean, you are up there in Pennsylvania, and I know you're not driving all the way down to Yankee Stadium to watch your favorite team play. So, I don't know, but I don't know, maybe it's college basketball. What's that?
I said Baltimore sports through and through.
Oh, that's right. I have you because you're up there working in Pennsylvania, but you are Baltimore.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't follow other sports, so that's a problem. Maybe fighting. There might be some fighters. Maybe we have a secret, crushes or secret, hero fighter that who would win. Maybe we should have a GOAT conversation.
Right. Yeah, make it happen.
Maybe. What else we got? That Graham kind of like killed my mojo.
Way to go, Graham.
What's that?
I said, way to go, Graham.
Way to go, Graham. Taking all the time, Graham. Mets, Knicks, Giants, Islanders. There we go. Ooh, Yankees, Nets. Yankees, Nets, Giants, Rangers, Chris Rocco. I know what you're saying. This is a Jersey, New York thing.
All right.
So if you're cool from New Jersey, it's the Yankees. It's the Nets. It's the Giants, and it's the Rangers. That's it. Now, I could see Devils. Over Rangers. I could see Devils, but maybe Devils more recently. I could go back and forth on that one. Yeah. But this is like that's the rule. New York, New Jersey. That's a New York, New Jersey thing.
Unless you're South Jersey, then you're pretty much Philadelphia.
Then you're dead on. You're right. You're all Philly, and that doesn't even count. They're not from Jersey. No. They're just from East Philly.
Yes, it's a branch campus of Philadelphia.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the way we treat them too, by the way. I'm lucky because of what we live right in the middle, right on the beach. So what are people going to say about, oh, you live in Belmar? Like, fucking must be awesome. Like, how's the fishing? How's the surfing? That's always the question. How's the fishing? How's the surfing? How's the food?
Sounds awesome.
Yeah. They're like, fuck, All right, what else do we got? What's up, Croaches? Nick L's in the house. What's up, Nick? Nick is a private client working with Lindsay. If anyone does want to work with Lindsay, click the links below. You can work one-on-one with Lindsay. 30-minute consultations, answers every one of your questions, or have her work one-on-one with you as your private dietitian over an 8-week time frame, providing every meal, every recipe, every ingredient. It's awesome. You go above and beyond, Lindsay, by the way, with that. I almost got to talk to you. You're almost wasting too much time being way too helpful to all these people. No, it's awesome because it's funny. We get inundated with because our customer support team deals with clients on a professional level. Lindsay is just their dietitian, and that's what she deals with. But it's an amazing influx of positive comments, people going out of their way to contact our team to talk about how amazing you are. So on air, I just wanted to give you that and just let you know that, because I haven't said that to you before, but it's awesome, Lindsay. So thank you. Thank you for that.
It certainly helps when, speaking of Nick himself, we talk pretty regularly, but it certainly helps when people are super willing to listen to what I have to say and what you have to say and really intentionally make the changes in their life for the better. So it's certainly definitely a product. People don't have to say what or do what I say. But it's nice to have people that are willing to make the changes and willing to work with you and, trust you, which I think is huge. So way to go, Nick.
Awesome. Way to go, Nick. Keep killing it.
Right. He was making fun of me because we were on the phone the other day and I was out for a walk and I went up a hill. I was out of breath on the phone. He was like, "Are you working out?" I'm just walking.
Always, Nick.
Yes.
Right? Jeez. Kenny Schaefer. Oh, fit. What's up, Kenny? Kenny is one of the OG Dolce Diet certified coaches, by the way. So Kenny Schaefer, what's up, brother? Favorite ways to build grip strength? Do you have any, Lindsay? I've had a few.
I was going to say, we might disagree on this one. You never know.
How dare you?
You're still out there. No, I think, grip strength is developed just from lifting in general, I think. Heavy deadlifts, obviously you have to hold on to the bar, things like that. So I think it's developed as a byproduct of lifting. Yep. But some specific ones, like I've worked with, like softball and baseball players, that grip strength is a little bit more important. But I'll have them do like heavy farmer's walks or farmer's carries. Yeah. Sometimes I'll just have them with the bumper plates and just pinch the sides. Don't hold on, just pinch the sides. It just burns up your forearms. And pretty much just holding that to failure, things like that. You could do the old school rotational.
Yep.
Yeah. But
if you're in a real gym, you have that machine.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Usually some duct tape ass PVC. What's that?
The dirty rope.
The dirty rope. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but no, those are good ones. If you're doing heavy walking lunges with dumbbells. But I think farmer's carries and then just kind of like those pinch grips, even if you wanted to do lunges or, step ups or whatever it may be with like a pinch grip instead of holding on. They also make those fat grip things. I haven't used them that often, but they're out there, pretty inexpensive. So. Yeah.
Well, I actually agree with everything you said. So I'll just add a few. Add a few extra, one of which, if you're thinking about grappling and fighting, throw a gi or judo, let's say, martial arts, throw a gi over a chin bar, start doing chin-ups, gi chin-ups, or even a towel, right? Do a towel, a piece of cloth or clothing, a piece of rope. We have gymnastic rings, we have TRX bands, we have all sorts of equipment that we use quite often, just to make it a little bit more challenging. But grip, right? I used to do some strongman training back in my early meteor head days, I should say. Take a newspaper. If those are kind of extinct now, but if you took a newspaper, one sheet of newspaper, put it down in the middle of your kitchen table, put your hand flat on it, and slowly just crumpled your hand. What this does to your forearm is insane grip strength, but hand strength, and just be very slow and methodical and slowly kind of crumple it up into a big ball. Another thing to consider is get a bucket, a Home Depot bucket, get 2 buckets. I have 2 buckets, and you can put sand in there. You can put little steel shot, little ball bearings, if you would, and start to dig your hands into the bucket. You can do it in bigger ones. It takes time to accumulate. Sand is the easiest one, by the way, and you just really can dig through, and you twist your hands inside deep under the mass of the weight. These are great exercises to build strength, safe strength, actually, because it's almost like a prehabilitation exercise also. And it's everything's kind of just like fully extending and just squeezing hands of sand as you're digging through. Those are a few other concepts you might want to consider, Kenny.
Yeah. Maybe a stress ball at work.
Yeah. Lord, I need 4.
Yes.
Thank you all for free content. So Russell says, it's funny because questions are showing up I keep refreshing, so it seems like there's a lot more questions in here than it originally seemed. So let me answer a few. Let us answer a few more. I'll get to a few more. Russell says, Coach, thank you for all the free content. What specific conditioning should someone preparing for a wrestling tournament do? Sprints or more long runs? You have any insight?
Yeah, I think I think the term is like specificity of imposed demands or something like that. I don't know. But you want to match your conditioning to what you have to do in your sport. So I should know this, but I don't know off the top of my head. But like, how long is a round in wrestling?
But let's say 2 minutes, depending.
Okay.
But 2 minutes.
Yeah. So if you're going to do conditioning for that, I would sprint or run fast for 2 minutes and then rest for the same amount of time that you rest in your wrestling match. Like if you were doing some sort of other conditioning, like if it wasn't just running, say you were doing like medicine ball slams and battle ropes or whatever it may be, do that for 2 or 3 minutes straight and then rest for the same amount of time that you rest. Maybe even, and match the intensity, match your heart rate or whatever intensity you feel during actual wrestling. Maybe you want to do something a little bit more physical, like, I don't know, like plyometric based, like a lying medicine ball toss, something that's a little bit more applicable to wrestling. But I always like to match it to what your sport is. I actually was just talking about this in my testing prescription class. I have mostly athletes are my students. And I'm like, I want to hear what you guys do for preseason conditioning for your sport. And I've got baseball players saying that they have to run 3 miles. I'm like, at what point in baseball are you ever running, 1, at a slow pace, but 2, for 3 miles? It's not applicable whatsoever.
Yeah.
So training for a sport should match the demands of that sport. If it's an intermittent sport, you should be training intermittently. If it's a steady state sport, then you should probably be training more steady state. It's kind of common sense when you think about it that way. But that would be my suggestion: is match your what you do in a wrestling match, but just do conditioning type exercises in the same sort of increments.
Yeah. And you're spot on, because wrestling is so intense, especially wrestling. These are 2 minute, 100% intensity, bouts of exertion at the highest level, right? And that's what everyone should. If you wrestle 100% intensity, you'll be an amazing wrestler, and then you'll meet someone else, 1 in 4 million, maybe. Who knows? 1 in 400,000, maybe, who actually meets your intensity. That's where you actually can see if you're a good wrestler or not. So in wrestling, if you can get to 100 intensity before you perfect chain wrestling and takedowns and scrambles, you're already going to get to the top of the division, top of the class. You high school state champion, you'll get into a college team, all things being considered. So with that, Russell, get those big bursts in. How many can you do? 10 2-minute assault bike goes or woodway, curved treadmill, all out sprints, and maintain high level output for those 2 minutes. Can you do that 5 times? You wrestle 3 times, maybe you have an overtime or 2 thrown in. 5 times minimum, 10 times maybe. Also, I would say, do you do anything passive? Like with wrestlers, most wrestlers that we work with, they always want to go hard. It's always, how can I go harder? Harder. So do you even need to sprint? Like, how much are you actually doing? Are you already overtrained? And I just add this to the percentage of the wrestling community that already is overtrained. So sometimes it's not adding another session. It's maybe you're sprinting instead of something else you might be doing. Maybe you shouldn't really be weightlifting too aggressively, or something that's too time invasive. If you're in the competition season of wrestling, you can get weight resistance workouts kind of built in even to the back end of a wrestling practice, or I'd say more like prehab style resistance exercises, mobility exercises in competition season.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And like another thing to note about the long runs, I think there's a place for longer runs. If it's like, I don't know, run a minute, walk a minute, whatever, for a long duration, for most athletes, because you still need to build like a base of just aerobic conditioning. So if we're talking about like periodization over a period of time, if you're months away from your wrestling season, then I might suggest like going on a 2-mile run or something like that, just to build that kind of base. And then you want to get more specific as you approach your actual competition. That's just basic kind of periodization, decrease volume, increase intensity, get more specific to your sport as actual competition season gets closer.
Agreed. Boom. So I think let me see if there's any more. There's a lot more questions, actually. Well, we hit on Usman. We started with that. We spoke about the Joe Weider stuff. The intermittent fasting, I think we touched on a little bit of that as far as the kind of during that keto rant. Let's just touch on that because I want to be true to promoting here. And I use Jason Fung just because he is a visual representative of intermittent fasting. I don't have anything specific to quote Fung on or any of his research. It was really just to highlight the topic of intermittent fasting. Although I'd love to speak with him down the road. And I think he's just a brilliant guy, very smart guy. I don't exactly agree with everything, all the statements being said, not being confrontational, just maybe I need more information. So I'd like to speak with him down the road on that and also share some of our approach and our perspective on this same topic. And I believe being more accurate, some of our approaches, let's say. But with that, intermittent fasting, is there a place? I'm going to be, contrarian here. Is there a place for intermittent fasting in a fat loss program if all other styles of fat loss are available, which means there's no metabolic, no health, no financial. There's no reason to not follow any other meal plan. Is intermittent fasting better than keto or carnivore or vegan or traditional omnivore or Mediterranean or, macro bro? I'm going to do intermittent fasting. What are kind of the pros and cons, or maybe weighting them against some of the other? And if you don't mind just jumping into that statement here, Lindsay, and I'm just going to step off the screen for 1 minute.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, the concept of intermittent fasting is, you have a eating window during the day. So you have like 4 hours or whatever, depending on what kind of program you're following. But you have 4 hours or a very short duration to consume all of your calories for the day. And I think the issue here is like people try to find foods that are, not nutrient dense, but calorically dense, which generally become less healthy foods. So things with a lot of calories and not a lot of bulk, to make sure that they're getting enough food in a certain amount of time. The other thing it does is like, who wants to not eat all day? Not me. I would be starving all day and miserable. I'm sure everybody's heard of the term hangry, but people get hangry. Okay, that's hungry and angry. So no, I mean, I don't think intermittent fasting is by any means the best way to do things. We also, as humans, intermittent fast just already by sleeping overnight. So we're already not eating for like 12 hours of the day. You go to sleep at 10, you sleep for 8 hours. You don't eat for, an hour and a half or 2 hours before you start your day. So you're already doing some version of intermittent fasting. But I think, again, it's a way for people to cheat the system a little bit. Is like, if I only eat in these 4 hour window, I'm automatically going to be reducing kind of overall calories, because it's impossible for a lot of people to eat that many calories in that amount of time. So I think in that sense, maybe people will see a little bit of weight loss just due to the fact that they've dropped calories slightly. But no, I don't think there's a practical argument for somebody to follow a true intermittent fasting type diet.
So thank you. Let me pull that off the screen so we're not confused. And I didn't hear the whole statement. If you could give me just a brief 15-second paraphrase on the main point.
Yeah, so I was just kind of mentioning that I think people lean towards calorically dense foods because they know, okay, if I want to eat 2,000 calories, I have to eat it in this 4 hour window or this 2 hour window. Yep. So they're like, I'm not eating fruits and vegetables, because you would have to eat like a room full of fruits and vegetables to get that many calories in. So I think that's a downfall. I also was just mentioning that who wants to not eat all day? Yeah. Not me. And then just the fact that as humans, we already do some sort of an intermittent fast by not eating for 12 hours, a couple hours before you go to sleep, the whole time you're asleep, and then once you wake up. So that was pretty much it.
No, I agree. And I'll just add a little bit of context on the small feeding window. I can't get that much food in.
Exactly.
I simply can't eat that much raw bulk food matter. Mm-hmm. It's like,
it's a lot of food.
I would say like, all right, this is like a piece of salmon, let's say, right? We all have this. Now look, this hard thing, right? Let's say this is a piece of salmon or steak or potato or whatever else it might be. I'm going to eat this thing. Well, I have to eat this thing. I have to chew it down. I have to break it down, right? You know, mechanical digestion, chemical digestion. I got to break it down into this atomic level in order to, you know, push through my body. I got to break again. Remember, look how big it is right now. Think about all the work that goes into that. And guess what? I got to eat 16 of these in one meal. Instead of eating 4 of those spread evenly throughout the day, I got to eat 16 of them right now. Mm-hmm. I can't eat that. Like for me, I usually have 2 plates of food at each meal. I eat around 3,500 or so calories per day, as it works out to be 3 to 5,000 or 3 to 3,500. That's like 2 good sized plates of food. With the high variety of foods that I eat, if I were to eat that, you'd be talking like 12 plates of food I have to eat. Yep.
Yeah. And I think it
just doesn't make sense. Go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
It comes down to digestive efficiency. And that's really the main reason, that why we push eating in regular increments throughout the day is to be efficient with our digestion. I would say 80 to 90% of the people that I work with have some sort of digestive discomfort or issue or something like that. And that's like the biggest thing for people. It's like they can get over that and fix that. Like that made their life 10 times better. Yeah. So now if we're talking shoving 2,500 calories in a 4-hour window, how do you think that's going to make people feel? Not good. We're talking about absorption of nutrients, storage of nutrients. You don't need all of that at one time. So I think it's, important to back the science that states if you eat, evenly spaced increments, whether that's protein, getting enough protein throughout the day, getting enough fat, getting enough carbohydrates, it's important to note that it's really the digestion. So it's not what you eat, it's what you digest. So it's what are you actually absorbing from what you put into your body. And if we overload our system, we're not built to think of just gastric emptying rate. It takes a certain amount of time for food to leave our stomach and enter our intestines. So just from a practical standpoint, it just doesn't make sense to me. So
you just got me thinking where a lot of the academics will program and a lot of the higher level bros will say, hey, it takes an hour to digest a liter of water, 1.5 liters of water, right? Somewhere in that takes an hour. In a dehydrated state, maybe it takes time. But then they will go into intermittent fast. Yeah. We're talking water that has 0 calories. Like water is nothing to break down. I mean, it does, but still, probably the easiest of substances. Mm-hmm. It's certainly not this. But they'll intermittent fast, and they'll support both at the same time because science. Right. It's interesting to see as we sit here and discuss it with everybody hanging out and watching and paying attention. Hopefully this all matters. This different take and approach matters because I can argue anything based upon my macronutrient ratio. I can create, and it's made a statement earlier, which I agree with. Every scientific study has a bias. Usually has a bias sometimes just from the mind of the organizer. I want to prove this thing. I want to prove that this is black, that this is not red. I want to prove that it's black. So there's an inherent bias that goes into that, and there's ways to try and vet some of that stuff out. But if I say, hey, Lindsay, listen, I'm going to give you $100,000 to prove 3 weeks to shredded works real well.
There's opportunity for manipulation.
There's opportunity. Yes. And that's not, there you go. So, but then to take any piece of that, one part of the study, and then to build an entire argument around one part of the study, that's where I think we are in the current pop culture fitness weight loss world. Right. It's the small little bullet points, or then the 12-year-old epileptic, right, from the 1920s, right? That is the case for keto as it kind of originated and passed through. Although it was the ketogenic movement was in turn propagated by Mark Sisson. He's the one who created, inadvertently, I believe, the ketogenic spin. He was the catalyst, I think, for the ketogenic movement to really take off during his earlier appearance on the Rogan podcast. And what's interesting now is Mark now speaks differently once again. And this is always an interesting thing. And I haven't heard enough of Mark talk and what to really go too deep. But we do see these catalyst events often that an entire, as we said earlier, group of people shift. The entrance and the exits, the mass exodus and adoptions, right? There's a catalyst event. Some charismatic person throws another spin on the same old shit that's been shoveled for centuries and centuries, right? And everybody, just wants to go dig through their shit. And so you kind of see how that stuff catapults and takes off.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And it's just like anything. Like I mentioned before, the keto diet. The reason why it's popular is because, my neighbor tried it and she lost 8 pounds this week. That's why people flock to it. Same thing with intermittent fasting is if you only have this amount of time to eat, chances are you're going to eat less than you did yesterday when you could eat all day. Yeah. That's just the fact of it. So it's essentially just a caloric restriction that's resulting in a short-term weight loss. But we like to focus on what's going to benefit you in the long term and how can you sustain the way that you're eating and what your daily habits are forever. Yeah.
But Lindsay, autophagy. Autophagy. What about autophagy? Do you know how many high BMIers constantly want to be like, whoa, what about autophagy, Dolce, with your midsection and your perfect blood work? What about autophagy? You know what I'm saying? I'm like, come on, people. So how funny is that, though? Intermittent fasting, autophagy, inflammation, insulin resistance.
How about that?
How about that? What do you got to say about that? Yeah, I might be morbidly obese and can't walk up a flight of stairs, but I heard on a podcast in a 3-minute segment that someone who sounded really cool and made me laugh. Therefore, you with your ripped physique and your bulging muscles and your pristine hormone panel, you don't know what you're talking about, Mr. Autophagy.
Nope.
Right? That's my life, man. I have so many people so less healthy than me trying to tell me how to be healthy. It's crazy as shit. So, I mean, in almost all fields. Not that I'm the smartest person in the room ever, but I am. No, I'm not. Lindsay is. I'm the second.
My experience, yes. Like the amount of people that you've worked with and that we've worked with, and you see what works and what doesn't work. You see all these people come to us and they'll say, I tried this, 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 and this, and finally here's something that works for me that I can actually enjoy. And it's like, oh my God, I could eat all this food. Is this too much food? No, it's not too much food. So it's
likely not enough.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not enough to get you where we want to get you. We're going to start building healthy functional muscle tissue. You got a lot of deficiencies. We're going to, fix that. What's interesting is, and what we promote is the more sensible outcome, the more sensible program. Like, think about, we say, well, just, eat healthful whole food and wide variety. It's local and organic, until you're satisfied, not until you're full. Get good night's sleep, exercise every day, doing something you enjoy. That's a little challenging, but you kind of love it. Hang out with really cool people, hold the door for neighbors, say hello and smile. That's what we say. You don't have to buy anything. We're not selling you anything. We have products and services if you're like really, really interested, but just, try this stuff first, see if it works. We got another free episode next week. Listen again, check out the 1,200 free articles and recipes and workouts and lifestyle tips at thedolcediet.com. That's all there. That's all free too. Check out the live Instagram free Q&A that we, host almost every day. Put healthful whole food, wide variety. Let's start moving your body a little bit more. Get good night's sleep. Start there. And you'll lose 40, 50, 60 pounds. Just doing that. Every person, if they just implemented that, you would get to that 80 to 90% of perfection, which is your optimal athletic potential relative to where you are. You could be 69 years old or you could be 19 years old. Just do that stuff, right? How easy is that?
Yeah. Definitely. I think people make it too hard on themselves. So,
Agreed. Agreed. And it is challenging with the world as it is and marketing as it is.
Yep.
Right? So we got there. Darren says, hey guys, great listen. Thank you. What do you recommend as a healthy, delicious snack to have at night to get rid of cravings? Any go-to in Professor Howard's kitchen?
I have been having, aside from Chipotle, not late at night. No, I have been having, usually I'll have classic 3 weeks of shredded snack, apple with almond butter, or sometimes peanut butter. But I've been on a big almond butter kick. Forgot how delicious it was. But I've also been having just regular, like, organic blue corn tortilla chips.
Yes.
With, like, just a serving of them. I tell people they can eat these, and they're like, oh my God, how many can I have? I'm like, just stick to the serving. But I'll have that either with, like, fresh salsa from the grocery store, like the actual, like, pico salsa, not like a jar of salsa.
Yep. Ooh.
Or, it might sound weird to some people, but I'll actually use the chip and put like some feta cheese crumbles on it.
Okay.
Just like use it as a little scoop and just a serving. So we're talking like 1/4 cup of feta cheese crumbles total, which is like 80 calories or 100 calories. And then like 150 calories of chips. 250 calorie snack. Boom.
I'm so in.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Wake up the next day, abs are popping, energy's zooming.
Yeah.
Right? And then love it. Apples, like you said, apple, almond butter. We do apple slices at my house almost every single night. My daughters freaking love it. You know, with peanut butter, almond butter, how delicious and amazing is that? If you're on 3 weeks to shred it, you get that little square of 73% or greater organic dark chocolate, right? On a diet or shredding program, you're actually eating chocolate. A lot of people don't understand why outside of the psychological, the emotional enjoyment. But there's secret ingredients inside dark chocolate that might make sense. And I'd love to see in the comments after this video post if anyone does know, why do we include a 1 inch square specifically of 73% or greater organic dark chocolate as a part of that nighttime delicious dessert routine on 3 weeks to shred it? I'd love to see the answer to that.
Little quiz.
Let's see who's on because we've said it before. I know we've spoken about it before a few times, but that was probably more of the more science heavy episodes. So we'll see. Is it? Paul says, what's your opinion on 4 to 6 meals a day versus 2 meals a day when one is not intentionally intermittent fasting, but by default happens?
Yeah, I mean, this happens all the time. Like most people lead very busy lifestyles, and you don't have time to sit down and eat a whole meal, which is why it works for a lot of people is just to have like, okay, you have your breakfast. You could eat it in the car if you have to, safely, of course. And then you have like this 5-minute break where you could, shake up your whey protein or whatever, or eat an apple while you're walking to a meeting or whatever it may be. So I think there are plenty of days where I'm so busy and I go from this to this to this and I'm like, I have my time. And then a student walks in and I'm talking to them for like 45 minutes. So I'm like thinking of my meal that's in the fridge waiting to be heated up so I can eat it. But it happens. So like you don't get to eat all the food that you prepared and brought with you for that day. So just have a little bit more when you can. You don't have to fully make up for it if you're not that hungry. But I'm trying to read the question again. 4 to 6 meals per day. Yeah, I mean, obviously aim for 4 to 6, and that's not full-blown meals at 4 to 6 times a day. It's really like, I know a lot of people that do well with like 3 major meals. So like your traditional breakfast, lunch, dinner, and then some decent snacks in between based on hunger. But no, not intermittent. Yeah, but no, I mean, that happens all the time. And I think having like more convenience options with you, like an apple or like I said, whey protein powder, something like that, that's a little bit quick and can provide you or like hold you over, so to speak. So when you can have a meal, that would be my suggestion.
Agreed. And to take that and add to it, Lindsay makes a great point in that most people work well to think breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then have a meal or two, a snack or two, a smoothie or two, a shake or two to eat in between. one or two of those meals. So I know I'm going to eat around breakfast time. I'm going to eat around lunchtime. I'm going to eat around dinner time. Now, my day slides a little bit, right? And I look to have all my meals about the same size. So it's around, like 500 calories, 600 calorie meal is what it works out to be about. Maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. Maybe I'm at like a 400 or an 800. Maybe breakfast and dinner is 800. The meals in the middle of the day are like 400 or 500 or so. So kind of, close enough. Of similar ingredients per se. So it makes it easy. And Paul, to answer and to give you a takeaway, we just made a big old chili in our house. We had chili for dinner last night with the red hot blue corn Garden of Eden potato chips, which are fire. Absolutely the best, right? So bam, we had that. Now I got chili for lunch today, and I'll probably have chili for another meal tomorrow before it's gone. So that's taken care of. If we're going to make one chicken dinner, we're going to make 2 or 3. We're going to make some extra chicken. That we'll just quick chop it, throw it on the cutting board. We'll chop it in real time. So then it's scoopable even. Mm-hmm. I can just take a scoop, throw it into a little Tupperware. We always have rice, so a little, bag of rice, bam, throw a little rice in there. We always got some vegetables, leftover vegetables from the night before. If we're making peppers and onions, we're going to make an extra little, we're going to do the whole pepper, the whole onion, mix it all up and put it into a little Tupperware that's there for a day or two to just kind of throw in and add. So man, it takes no more time to make extra meals when you're making just regular meals. Mm-hmm. Turn the oven to 350, you throw a few chicken breasts in there, you walk away. You put the pot of rice on and, you we'll throw veggies. Usually if we use the oven to cook a meat, we'll cook a veggie or a list of veggies too. Just chop up some carrots and just throw them in there with it or whatever's around. Just throw it in the oven. So now you have that to go too. Asparagus, broccoli, like all that stuff is great. So Paul, hope that helps. But and to Lindsay's point also is have it available, have it ready. Everyone's busy. Every mofo is busy. Every single one of us is busy, but we're busy relative to our expectations. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I know there are millions of people busier than me. Maybe, allegedly, in a multi-universe, it might happen. It might happen. But there are busy people out there for sure. There are busy people out there who get it done, make it look easy, and find ways to make it happen. That would be the coaching point to push forward.
Yeah, for sure. It's all about preparation. And it's like, how can you make your preparation the easiest it can be? Like, for example, I'll buy a container of strawberries, put them in my fridge. So it's like Wednesday morning at 4:45 and I have 6 minutes to leave. I'm like, damn, I was going to bring strawberries today. I don't have time to cut them up. So when I buy them, I just slice them all up and put them in a Tupperware container.
Yep.
So that when I only have 6 minutes, when I press the snooze, I could just pour a couple of them into a plastic bag or whatever it may be. Yep. So it's like making your life easier, when you have the time to do a little bit of that preparation. Like you said, chopping up your onions and peppers and things like that. And I just keep them raw in the fridge. And then when I cook them, just pour some in the pan, put the Tupperware back in the fridge, keep that there for a couple days.
Yep. So I think the misconception with meal prep is bodybuilder style. I got to cook my 5 ounces of chicken. Yeah. Like that's I think the consensus, when in fact it's more just like, number one is I have to have the ingredients in the house. Right. Well, I got to go to the grocery store twice a week. I got to make 2 trips to the grocery store. Instacart's a little bit different. There's some delivery stuff. So maybe now it's only one time. I like to go twice because I only like to get about 3 days worth of produce in my house. I know about how much everybody eats, what the expectations are. I wanted to, and we always wind up going bad a little bit. Mm-hmm. If we don't eat that last day, stuff's gonna be going bad. That's kind of what we want. So go a little often, but then it's a matter of having easy access. I did a consultation with a great gentleman who had an executive position. So he had a high net worth and disposable income, but was dealing with some physical body mass issues and wanted to make a pretty dramatic change. What was really busy in a high stress, high responsibility job. And I said, listen, I know how much you make. You're making a couple hundred a year. No problem. Family's good, right? I was like, yeah, everything good. I said, so you have a discretionary income. Make your life easier. Make your life easier. Why are you worried about standing in the kitchen after working 12, 16 hours, right? And meal prepping for you. So you can get some takeout. I go to every day. I get a meal. I go from Seed to Sprout in Avon. I go to Kaya's Kitchen in Belmar. I go to Cave. I go to Mayberry. You know, there's a bunch of places. Or I know I'm going to get the turkey burger with that bomb ass salad on the side. I'm going to get the kimchi salad, you know, over at this place. I'm going to get the lentils and the charred cauliflower and the, you know, eggs. Well, that might be a little foo-foo. All right. So I'm spending $15, $20, you know, here and there on these meals. But this guy's making a couple hundred a year. He can blow $20, $30 on food to lose 100 pounds, right? Because he's blowing that money on Netflix subscription or whatever else. So get some Tupperware. Get yourself a little Yeti. I got a Yeti cooler. It sits in my passenger side. Someone gets in my car. I got to take it and put it in the back of my truck. It's there so I can throw my stuff in. So I got my chili sitting in there. I don't bring it in. I just keep it in the car. So I actually walk out, just giving like context. I'll walk out of this space. I'll sit in my car for 5 minutes or be alone, and I'll eat my meal. I kind of get out of one space. Now, sometimes I have it here, but I like to get out of this space. Everybody gets to work. I mean, the vast majority of people, most of you are even working home. But if you're leaving, you probably have a vehicle nearby. And if not, well, then just bring the Yeti cooler or whatever into your workspace where you hang your jacket up. And it's right there. But it's efficiency. Now, using him in his example, he had a high net worth. Some people, they're college kids. We wrote a book, The College Diet Guide, on how college kids can actually lose weight, get lean, get healthy, and still have the entire college experience. We teach them how to legally smoke weed and what snacks they should eat while smoking weed during college, as long as it's legal, of course, and your doctor prescribes it. And, you know, this is not medical advice, by the way, at all. This is don't do anything we say here. But we break down, it's a matter of efficiency. On a college campus, I say you should have some Ziploc bags in your backpack. So when you go to the cafeteria, you should be shopping. You're paying $2,000 a semester on that stupid food card. What a waste of time. I would much rather your parents give me money to put in your Instagram cart. On $50 a week or so in college, you can eat the Dolce Diet 6 meal a day program. You got some Costco, some Walmart, some Amazon shipments coming in on a few things, but you're still eating pristine, budgeted, and you can like go shopping in the cafeteria. So that's a level of efficiency also, like the executive who can get meal delivery. It's $10 a meal for a meal delivery. Coronado's Lean Cuisine, Eat Clean Bro right here in New Jersey, two of the ones that are local. It's $10. So like for those listening who have those discretionary incomes and you're trying to get that jump start, think of that as I'll do that sometimes, as a supplement to my meals. Brandy and I will order like 8 meals. So we'll have an extra, I don't want to cook salmon. I don't want my house to smell like salmon. Right? You know, so like we'll order a few of those salmon meals, a few salmon, a few chicken, they're sitting in the fridge. They're there for the next 3-4 days. If we get crazy busy, that's because we're thinking ahead, not because we're lazy. Mm-hmm. Like, man, I got to eat 6 times. I'm fucking busy. I got like 10, 12-hour days and I want to see my kids, you know, take them out to the park and do the other stuff. So again, really going maybe long on here, but hopefully trying to add some context for Paul on your question. Paul says, as a follow-up, and always you two have invaluable information. We all appreciate your dedication to making society better than when you found it. Boom. Well, Paul, we appreciate that. Thank you. And I don't know if you guys have heard, but you do want to listen to this. This episode is brought to you by Certified Piedmontese. Go to Piedmontese.com and feed your family the same way I feed mine. Right now, use promo code DOLCE to save 25% on grass-fed, grass-finished beef with free delivery. That's Piedmontese.com. Oh, bro.
Water break.
Yo. That's awesome. Practice what you preach. Certified Piedmontese. Go to Piedmontese.com. Promo code DOLCE. Save 25% on grass-fed, grass-finished ground beef delivered to your door in 2 days or less for free on orders over $99. We get no commission on your use of the Dolce promo code. 100% of that discount, that savings is passed directly on to you. Promo code Dolce to save 25% at Piedmontese.com. It's freaking awesome. You want to talk about making life easier? Hell of a lot easier, high quality, high net nutrient, healthy, delicious beef products in your freezer to feed your family, man. It's freaking awesome. Inexpensive as compared to what you would pay at the store for it, and for the time and the hassle of going through the gyrations of going to the supermarket, putting on the mask and staring, and then buying for the same price or more, lower quality beef. Just traditional, whatever the little, 16-ounce pack of beef for, $6, $7, $8 or so at Whole Foods. Piedmontese.com. All right. Well, Lindsay, you are awesome. I appreciate you being here. Everyone here, I appreciate you guys coming and hanging out. Timestamps will be on this video if you're just jumping in. So give us an hour or so to get the timestamps up. There are a lot of great topics actually we discussed. Hopefully the legend Dave B is on this stream. Dave B, hook it up, my man. Anything else, Lindsay, before we hop out of here?
I don't know.
Hard close.
We might have to talk about this next week, but I'm going to, I don't know why I agreed to this, but I'm going to do the 4x4x48 David Goggins challenge.
Okay. Tell me more about this. It sounds horrible. As soon as you said Goggins, I got a little, adrenaline dump. Yeah.
So it's like, we're going to do it for a fundraiser with the gym that I work at.
Okay.
And you essentially just run 4 miles every 4 hours for 48 hours. It's 48 miles.
That sounds horrible, but awesome. So 4 miles with a 4-hour break in between, or 4 miles every 4 hours on the hour?
Every 4 hours. So if it takes you 4 hours to run the 4 miles, you're going right into it. So essentially, like, you think you...
Someone's going to die. Someone's going to die. And if I that would be me. I'd be the dead guy in the Goggins challenge.
One of my clients, Aiden, he's from Ireland. He did it they've been in a crazy lockdown. So he did it himself, I think by himself.
Wow.
Which is like, he said it was more of a mental challenge than a physical challenge, but no, we're, test your body, see what happens. I don't know. Yeah.
When is this?
I think we're going to do it like end of May.
Where are you going to do it? Outside? Are you going to do it inside on treadmills, or just wherever you can get it in?
Outside. So that the gym that I work at is very small. There's only 2 treadmills. So I'm sure if it's like cold and it's like midnight and it's time to run, we're going to have a fight over who gets the treadmills.
Yeah. Nelson Mandela would run marathons in his 6-foot jail cell.
Insane.
Allegedly. Yes. I didn't see it personally, allegedly. Yes.
So I'll have to keep everybody posted on whether or not I make it.
I want live stream. I want to be able to interview you like Howard Cosell, live stream during the event. Like, because I can't wait. Like, for the first mile, you're gonna be like, oh, I'm pretty good. This is great. We're doing it for charity. And like mile 16, you're gonna be like, it's my carbs are pretty good right now, but I'm kind of feeling it. Mile like hour, 32, you're gonna be like, fuck David Goggins. Like, this is so stupid. Yes. Fuck you, Mike.
You'll have to go when you're doing your Instagram live. You could put me on there while running. I'll be like, oh my God, it's the worst thing ever.
Done. This is awesome. I cannot. I have something to look forward to now. Yes. This is awesome.
You could suffer vicariously through me.
Yeah. God dang. That's brutal, man. I get that. That's going to be good hard work right there.
So we'll see. But trying to raise some money, have some fun.
Yeah. You should start I don't know, tell you what to do, but I'm sure people would donate if it was to the right cause, or at the very least we would share it, happy to donate and support you, which is going to put even more pressure on your back, which scares me. Right? Because it's like, I gotta, the doctor's gonna be like, Lindsay, you must stop. Your heart's gonna explode. Like, what Graham from Instagram donated $3 to me and I have to see it through.
Graham.
F Graham. Cool. All right, Lindsay, you are awesome. Everybody, you guys are awesome. Remember, new channel, more news coming at the end of this week. Thank you guys for being here. Until next time, boom.